Hello and welcome to Happy Horror Time. My name is Tim Murdoch.
And my name is Matt Emmert. You may recognize today's special guest from her memorable roles in films like She's All That and Whatever It Takes, as well as TV series like Nash Bridges, Prison Break, and Vampire Diaries. All of which we are not going to focus on today. Why? Because her big screen debut was in one of our favorite Halloween sequels. She played the sassy, rebellious Sarah in 1998's Halloween H20, 20 years later. And let's just say she has one of the most brutal and unforgettable death scenes in the entire franchise. And speaking of other horror films and thrillers, she also starred in Devil in the Flesh 2, The Crow's Salvation, and The Frozen Ground, just to name a few. We are so excited to welcome to the podcast Jodi Lyn O'Keefe.
Hi, guys.
Hi, how are you?
Good. 1998. Oh, my heart.
Is it like it was yesterday?
No.
Well, you know, before we even go to that, we read that you grew up in the Jersey Shore and started modeling at the age of 8. So how did you get involved in that? And what was it like modeling at such a young age?
It was interesting. My older sister, who's 10 years older than me, she was modeling at the time. She was one of those women who would walk into a room and you'd lose your breath. She was 6 feet tall, blonde hair, beautiful blue eyes, and just like Jessica Rabbit, perfect. And then a cousin of mine started doing it too. And it was one of those things where my mom and dad talked to me about, you know, do you want to try this out? Do you want to save money for college? And I think when my cousin started having so much fun, I just, as a kid, just said, sure, let's try this.
Wait, you're 8 years old and they're like, do you want to save for college?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Which is probably why I have such a strong work ethic and why I am the way I am today. It started at a very young age.
And I'm a huge soap lover. Like, I love soaps. And I read that the first thing you did was on Another World. Like, yes. So what was your crazy storyline? Did you have one?
I did. I was one of, I think, 3 Maggie Coreys. The character was Maggie Corey. And I believe I was number 2. So I was right there in the middle. And I can remember distinctly getting there and feeling very overwhelmed. And I would go to the dressing room of another actress. Her name was Judy Evans Luciano. And I can remember coming into her room one day and I said, okay, so they're telling me that I just got raped. And what do you do when you need to cry? And she looked at me kind of, I was a little bit startled at first. And then she explained to me what she did and what her process was. And back then I was such a sponge. I wanted to hear everything from everyone. And she basically taught me the ropes when I first got there. I'll be forever grateful to her.
Wow. So she gave you like an instant acting class, and
she did.
As someone who watches soaps, that's not usually the norm on a soap. They don't usually go that dark.
No, and I just, my character seemed to be in a lot of trouble. There's a lot of trouble and a lot of like hospitalization of family members and death and lying. And she turned out not to be such a great person. So I had to really step outside my comfort zone there.
And how old were you when you were on Another World?
15, I think.
And you're already dealing with, wow, those are some serious subjects for a 15-year-old to have to, not just to portray, but have to even get in the mindset of.
Yes. Although I'll tell you that I found my happy place when I was there, because first of all, the first time I read a script and someone asked me what I thought about it, it was like the sunny side of the street. I was constantly immersed in books when I was a kid. I still do it. I read 4 at a time. My mother would get upset with me because I wasn't doing my chores because I was reading a book. So someone would ask me what I thought about something I read, and I just thought, this is it. This is where I want to be.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah, you know, one of our classic opening questions in interviews is, growing up, were you a fan of horror movies? And were there any that you remember that like made an impact on you at a young age?
They all made a huge impact on me at a young age. I was terrified. I can remember distinctly hiding behind the couch while my dad and mom would watch a horror movie, and I would sort of peek my head around the corner until it got too grisly and then kind of duck away and cover my eyes. Like that would actually help. I'm already behind the couch. But the Halloween franchise was the one for me. That was the one that I remembered and made the most impact. And so when I actually got a chance to be a part of it, again, blissed out of my skull, couldn't believe that I was going to meet Jamie Lee Curtis, couldn't believe I was on the set, couldn't believe I was going to get viciously murdered by Michael Myers, all the things, you know?
That is are speaking Matt's language.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So we always.
It's like his.
Am I dirty talking you right now?
No, I mean you have to understand, and listeners are so annoyed at me constantly saying this, but the Halloween franchise for me, it's like I saw the first one when I was 11. For some reason, it made such an impact on me. I became like obsessed, and I've been obsessed with the Halloween series ever since. It's my favorite. The original is my favorite, followed closely by H20. Tim is more of a Friday the 13th person.
Don't get it's twisted. I love Halloween.
He does. He's like, do not embarrass me in front of Jodi Lyn O'Keefe. But, well, moving on to Halloween H20. Now, at that time, you were a series regular on Nash Bridges. So what made you decide to audition for a film, or was being in movies always kind of something you wanted to do?
You know, it wasn't something I always wanted to do. I just loved doing what I was doing, and I would do it in any form, which can pretty much explain my entire career to you, because there's not a whole lot that I've ever said no to. I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Great. Because I just really enjoy it. And so I auditioned, and originally the role that I auditioned for was not the girl who ended up on screen. She was not the kind of quirky sort of character that she was. She was very kind of clean cut and blonde and popular. So it changed from the time that I was reading the script initially until the time that I showed up on set. And I was so happy about the change. I can't even tell you. The first thing I said when I got there was, what color can we change my hair? Can it be blue?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the audition process for Sarah, but was it still Sarah? Sarah was just written differently?
She was just written a little bit differently, yeah.
Wow. Okay. So she was more, that's funny because, and then they made Molly, Michelle Williams' character, well, obviously blonde. So I guess they're like, we need to have a brunette in the mix. Yeah. And then how familiar, I mean, it sounds like since the Halloween series had an impact on you, were you with the Halloween series when you got the part? I mean, you were obviously pretty familiar with it.
I was really familiar with it. I was really familiar. And
I was just going to ask, did you go back and watch like Halloween, like the original and then the sequels, or?
Of course. I mean, I had to do my homework. I had seen it all already, but I had to see it again. And, you know, Jamie Lee for me was kind of the end all be all at that time. So I had to watch it again, and then meeting her, and just, I can remember the first day I met her, I actually was so starstruck by her that I really couldn't get many words out of my mouth. And she looked at me and she said, "Oh, you're going to be easy to torture." And I said, "I like you already, Miss Curtis."
Wow. Good old, that's so funny. Okay, we have a few kind of nerdy questions about Halloween that, again, if you don't know the answer to these, but these are like weird things that people say on the internet, and we're just going to go to the source and ask.
Okay, great.
So, Halloween H20 ignores all the films in the series after Halloween 2, but it's been said online, and I hope you can clear this up for us, that the original H20 script did connect all the movies, because there was like a scene written in which your character, Sarah, presents some report on the Haddonfield murders that basically sums up what happened in parts 4 to 6, which was dealing with like her daughter, Jamie. But then that entire scene was cut because it got too complicated. So my question is, do you remember ever reading a scene like this in any version of the script?
No.
I love that.
I'm sorry. That for me personally, that never happened.
No, I'm so glad that you cleared that up. People are convinced. Now, here's the thing. Maybe the script changed before it got to you, but like people were convinced that at first it was going to connect all the movies, and your character was going to present some big report about what happened in the sequels.
I wish that was true.
Well, okay, and then now, no. I mean, hey, I love. So now you see that IMDb, clean up your facts there.
Well, but to my knowledge, do you know what I mean? So it's possible.
Yeah, no, possible. And maybe it just was changed before it got to you. There's something else that I have to ask you about. So, in H2O, Sarah, your character, is this really cool, carefree, beautiful girl. And your boyfriend, Charlie, is this kind of dorky, immature, overly horny guy. And now I'm sure Adam Hambird, who played Charlie, is amazing. We loved his performance, but I have to ask, and please be honest with me, at the time, were you at all surprised that your character was coupled up with him?
A bit. Listen, just based on my size alone. Do you know what I mean? I'm not a small girl. I never have been. And just the fact that I was this very tall thing, and I was bigger than him, and I felt a little confused, to be honest. At the beginning, I was like, and also, in my brain, he felt much younger than me, and I don't know why. Maybe
girls are so much more mature than boys.
I think so. I think you're right. But at first, I was like, "What? Okay, all right." It's like, okay, so this is just a weird pairing. I'm just going to be an oaf. Okay, that's fine.
Let me just tell you that I think a lot of people watching.
Far from an oaf. You are gorgeous.
Yes,
and
you are. Are you kidding? You are.
People can't see today, because I can see you. You're, oh my gosh, you are a knockout.
Yes.
And I'm a gay man, but
We're both gay men, but you are absolutely beautiful.
Coming from you. Thank you.
You're absolutely beautiful. And I think, it was a little strange of a coupling. I feel like I could have seen you more with Josh Hartnett, but hey, you know what? When you're in a private school, maybe your options are limited.
Sure.
So you touched on it a little bit, but like the big exciting news with H2O was that Jamie Lee Curtis was returning to the series that started her career. And I know you didn't have a ton of screen time with her, but like you mentioned that you kind of, were starstruck by her. Any other fun stories of what Jamie Lee was like on set during production?
I didn't really, not during production. I mean, I had a lot of time with her in the mornings. I had a lot of time, like hair and makeup time, which is my favorite time, just because you get to be with the cast and you're kind of hanging out and rehearsing and getting to talk to everybody in the hair and makeup trailer. I really didn't get a lot of screen time with her at all. So no, I mean, she has an amazing sense of humor. I'll tell you that. So I found myself laughing quite a bit and yeah.
How about Janet Leigh? Did you get to meet her while filming?
I did.
How was that?
She's so wonderful. She's such a sweet woman. Oh my God.
She seems like you just get this like feeling of like that she's just such a sweet, caring woman.
I love the movie Psycho.
On top of the fact that she's a sweet, caring woman, she's a broad. She's a dame. I mean, the outfits and the walk and all of it is just
chef's kiss.
It was. I think everybody was so excited. Obviously, that Jamie Lee Curtis was coming back to the series, but then to have her real life mom, and then like with that scene with the vehicle from Psycho, was just like homage after homage after homage. So you got, and the funny thing is that this was your first movie, correct?
Was.
You got to be in one of the best sequels in the series. Like this was no Halloween 5.
I love Halloween 5, but H2O is like amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like what a great first movie to be in. But anyway, moving on to your big unforgettable death scene. Now, side note,
yes.
we had Kevin Williamson on the podcast last year, and he basically said that your death scene in H2O is his favorite of all the death scenes that he's come up with or been involved in. He said that, and he's been on all the Scream series and everything.
I know. He makes my heart beat in my chest, if we're going to be totally honest. Years later, I had a meeting. I had auditioned for a role for something 4 or 5 times. And then at the end, I had to go and meet with Kevin. And he said, "Do you remember me?" And I said, "Are you kidding me? Is this real life?" And he looked at the people in the room and he said, "This is one of the most underrated actresses in Hollywood." And you could have knocked me over with a feather. I just love him. And hearing him say that, it was such a confirmation to me that, yes, I'm probably supposed to be doing this. I have so much respect for him, and I love the franchise so much. So, Yeah. I'm like, it's making me emotional even thinking about it.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, he is just a genius. Like, we consider him just like a master of horror. He was basically an uncredited writer on H2O. And we asked him about like why didn't get the specific credit, and there was all this legal stuff. But was he ever on set while you were filming H2O?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I figured he was so involved. It was that he obviously was on set. But for listeners who haven't seen H2O in a while or can't remember your death scene, I'm just going to walk everyone through it, okay? Because there's a lot of components to it. So first, you find your boyfriend, Charlie, dead in a dumbwaiter.
Yes, I did.
Then, to avoid Michael Myers, you're forced to jump inside this little elevator, ride it up a floor, sitting right next to Charlie's dead body. Then, as you're trying to get out, Michael cuts the rope and the dumbwaiter falls on your leg, basically smashing it to a pulp. And then, if things weren't bad enough, Michael walks up the stairs and stabs you repeatedly with a huge butcher knife while you're trying to crawl away.
And not only that, he holds her down with his foot.
Oh, and don't forget, of course, he hangs you from a light. So, you know.
The grand finale.
The grand finale. So first off, was that an actual working dumbwaiter that you and Adam Hamber were in, or what was used for that?
It was an actual dumbwaiter. It was an actual dumbwaiter in an actual property here in Los Angeles, this big, beautiful old mansion that we shot in.
Is that, oh, by the way, is that where they filmed The Bachelor and they also filmed Scream 3?
You know, I don't know the answer to that. I know that now it's called the Paramore Estate.
Oh, okay.
But back then it was school/convent.
Oh.
Where we were shooting. And the kitchen that I died in is a kitchen I'm in often now, which is cool/creepy, because it's a big event space now. And my company and another company just did a huge event there. We did a dinner for fragrance that we launched in tandem.
So you have to go back to this kitchen where you were brutally murdered in your first film.
Yeah, I do it quite often.
That is such a full circle moment. That must be so much fun.
Wait, and here's more of the full circle. This last time I was there, I was actually cooking. So I was the chef for the dinner. So I cooked in the kitchen that I was once killed.
Wow. Wait, so back to, because I'm such a logistics person. So you really had to get in that dumbwaiter and ride it?
No, I mean, they didn't take it anywhere, but it was an actual working dumbwaiter. So we did that, and then they recreated the entire set on a soundstage. So I filmed it on location, and then I had to film it another 300 times in a studio.
Wow. Okay, so then the part where the dumbwaiter basically falls on your leg, which I think every viewer watching that could feel the pain of that moment. What did they use, like, for the mashed up leg? Is that like a prosthetic? Like what?
Oh, hello. That's Beauregard.
Yes. Oh, listeners, Jodi Lyn O'Keefe's cat just jumped on her shoulder.
It's like out of a horror movie. It was like a jump scare.
There's two of them. They're going to pop in from time to time. I'm sorry. And my bulldog might even join us too. But
we love it.
To answer your question, it was a prosthetic leg.
It just okay. It is mashed up and looks absolutely disgusting, but considering
and we heard that you were actually cut during this scene, because we saw in an interview where you went into the hotel and the lady, I guess, at the front desk saw that you were bleeding. And do you remember how you got that real cut?
Oh, absolutely. It was when he stabbed me in the leg. Michael Myers stabs me in the leg, and we were using a retractable knife, and I had a pad on my leg where it would hit just in case. And the pad slipped at a certain point, and the knife didn't retract at another certain point. But at that point, I was covered in so much fake blood that when I was staying in a hotel because I didn't live in LA at the time. And by the time we had gotten done that night and I had gotten to the hotel, the woman at the front desk said to me, "Oh my God, you're bleeding." And I said, no, it's fake. It's candy. And I'm wiping. I'm like, it's candy blood. It's not a big deal. And she looked down and she said, "Your leg is bleeding." And I looked down, and sure enough, there was blood on my leg.
Those retractable knives are sharp, and they can do some real damage. Because they're not. I mean, yes, they're props, but they're dangerous.
And I'm thinking that he must have, Chris Durand, who played Michael Myers, must have put some force behind that if it cut you.
I mean, it wasn't like, it didn't require stitches, for God's sake. It just, it was a flesh wound.
Yeah. Wow. I love that you're coming back and they're like, oh, you're bleeding. You're like, no, it's
She
fake
has a
blood.
scar.
You're like,
Yeah.
no, actually, it's real blood.
No, actually, you're bleeding, and you big dummy.
Well, speaking of dummies, then when Josh Hartnett and Michelle Williams find your dead body hanging from the lamp, I'm assuming that was a dummy. Did they make like a full body cast of you?
That was not me. That was a dummy. That was not a full body cast of me either. I think they just sort of approximated the size.
Did you get to keep it?
No, I wish I got to keep it. Are you kidding me?
It is like there's literally first off, Michael Myers is very quick because he was able to drag you, put you hanging up and with the lamp there in a matter of like 10 seconds.
Yeah, it was so fast.
Okay, one last nerdy question about filming Halloween H2O. Again, if you don't remember, but this is just for all the like nerds like me who think about every little detail. There's a scene that was used in one of the TV spots, but isn't in the actual film, where your character is like outside. It looks like in the woods or something, and quickly turns around and screams. Do you remember filming this? Like, was there a different version of your death or anything like that?
Oh, I do remember filming that, but I can't for the life of me remember what it was about. I think it may have been just an extra jump scare that they did. Maybe I was walking from the basement back to our dorm room or something, and it was just a startling jump scare, which is one of my favorite things about that movie and all the Halloween franchise in general, is that a curtain will blow and it will terrify you, and there's nothing there. So yeah, I think
the movie is so well. I mean, I love H2O. Like all the little like this, the music,
and the music. I mean, and it's like such a big the music. Well, but I mean, it's like it was like a different interpretation.
Yeah.
Of
Like
John
the movie
Carpenter's.
was fast paced. Like a lot of horror films, take their time, and this movie takes its time. And in additional, it's also fast paced. I can't describe it. But I was going to ask.
great job.
Thank you. Did you get to attend the red carpet premiere? And what did you think of yourself, if you did, seeing yourself on the big 35 millimeter screen?
It was intimidating, to be honest. I don't really enjoy watching myself. I'm so sorry. There's a cat. He's climbing up over the back of he's chewing on the computer now.
I mean, he's a Halloween fan, obviously.
Yeah, he wants me included desperately. Sorry, I don't really enjoy watching myself. I like watching everyone else. So it made me a little bit uncomfortable. The red carpet was fun though. I got to wear a red dress. I thought that was pretty amazing. My very first Hollywood premiere with Jamie Lee, who also wore red. Come on.
That's funny.
We didn't plan it. We did not call each other up and discuss our wardrobe. We just both happened to be wearing red dresses.
You're like, one of you is going to have to change.
No, I just, as far as magical moments in my career, it just really was altogether one. And then, did you guys know that Chris Durand was a stuntman on my show at the time?
No. Wait, on Nash Bridges?
Yes.
So wait. So
you
then,
knew him prior.
So, okay. So then when did you first find out he was going to play Michael Myers?
I didn't.
Wait,
did he jump up and scare you and be like,
oh, because he had the mask? Like he was.
Never came out of the mask the entire time I shot. He would lurk in the background, even when he wasn't in a scene. He would literally scare the crap out of us on a daily basis. He did it the entire time on purpose and did not take that mask off his face until we wrapped the movie. And I was so mad.
And then you're like, we know each other.
Yeah.
you're my friend.
Yeah, you're my friend.
Wait, you're telling me that during your entire death scene, it's really a guy that you know, but you're just like, this is some creepy actor who won't take the mask off?
100% correct.
Wow. I would have been like, who is this guy?
Oh,
He was committed, and we were all pretty afraid of him.
I guess that's good.
I've heard of the actors doing that. Like, I think there was one Jason from the final chapter who did not go near the teenagers at all.
That is creepy, especially like at night, like when you want to like relax and maybe they call cut and the guy is still wearing the Michael Myers mask.
Yeah, or lurking in the forest nearby, popping out from the tree, which he did all the time.
Or following you to your car,
Yes.
That filming location's out in the middle of nowhere, right?
No,
Oh, it's close by?
it is.
You're like, let's pretend it's out in the
believed
middle.
it.
It's
I
Haddonfield.
believed
It's
it.
Haddonfield. No. And then I gotta ask, did you ever see the follow-up to H2O Halloween Resurrection? And it's totally okay if you didn't.
I did not.
It's okay. You're in
not-
very good company. A
you're
lot
not
of people we
missing
talk
much.
to.
Have you seen any of the recent Halloween films with Jamie Lee Curtis, like the ones from the last few years?
Yes.
I think you picked the right ones to see because Resurrection was tough stuff, right,
You know,
Tim?
it's a film. That's not bad.
It kind of just like pretended like it kind of it ruined the entire ending of H2O, which was so
spoiler,
great.
they kill Jamie Lee in the first 10 minutes. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yes, it was bad. But anyway, before we move on from H2O, we want to play a quick little game with you where we're going to ask you some simple questions and you just have to answer with the name of one of the 4 co-stars you share the most screen time with in Halloween H2O. So you just have to answer with either Josh Hartnett, who played John, Michelle Williams, who played Molly, Adam Hanbird, who played Charlie, or Chris Durand, your friend, who played Michael Myers. Among these co-stars, who was the biggest jokester on set?
Chris Durand, obviously. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
he put this joke on everyone there.
Yeah.
Who was the most reserved?
Josh Hartnett.
Really? Because, it's funny. It was his first movie, too. So I guess, yeah. By the way, he got an introducing Josh Hartnett on the credits. I think you should have gotten an introducing Jodi Lyn O'Keefe on the credits, too.
Oh, yeah. You know?
Who did you become closest to while filming among those?
At the time, Michelle Williams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who did you keep in touch with the most?
No one.
Michael Myers.
No. For a time, Michelle Williams.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Who was most like their character in real life?
Josh Hartnett.
I mean, he didn't comb his hair in the movie. I heard he didn't comb his hair while filming. So,
oh, that hair. Who was the most starstruck to meet JLC Jamie Lee Curtis?
Me.
I was going to say, it sounded like you. Okay. And then who was the most starstruck by LL Cool J?
Also me.
Oh. Did you have, because I know you don't share screen time with him, but did you get to hang out with him between or during hair and makeup?
I sure did.
Did you say, I'm going to knock you out? Mama said knock you out, Tim?
No, I'm pretty sure I just told him I loved him immediately. I am from Jersey. You guys, come on.
That is amazing.
Do you watch Jersey Housewives, by the way?
I don't. I feel like maybe I live it. So I'm.
That's a great answer. Oh, my God. Okay. So moving on, even though I mentioned in the intro that we wouldn't be focusing on this, I think some of our listeners would kill us if we didn't at least ask you a question or two about She's All That. But to keep it horror related, your boyfriend in the film just happens to be Scream alum Matthew Lillard, who has played a ton of wild and kooky characters throughout his career. What is Matthew like in real life?
He is a total goofball. He's an absolute goof. I adore him. He's nonstop funny. On that movie, actually, when we worked together, I went up to him on the first day and I said, "Hey, how are you doing? It's been a while." And he could not remember that we had worked together before, which was amazing. And then I had to remind him, I said, "You came and guest starred on the show I'm on and you shot me in the ass."
Wait, what? Wait, with what?
A gun?
With a gun. It was
my God.
Like a bullet hit you in the ass on Nash Bridges?
shot me in the buttocks.
What was he? Now I'm all like talking about horror. What was his character? Why? Give us some context, please.
From what I can remember now, because again, this was 300 years ago. Apparently, I died 10 years ago. Also, no one told me. I'm just still walking around.
Love the internet.
We were in high school, maybe, and someone brought a gun to school, and it went off. And it's not that they were aiming for me, but I took it in the butt cheek.
And that was Matthew Lillard.
And that was Matthew Lillard. And then the realization came to him, and he said, "Oh my God, I did shoot you right in the ass, didn't I?" Yes, you did, sir.
And how do you prepare to play more villainous characters like Taylor Vaughn?
It's kind of easy. It's everything I don't like. It's everything I can remember that made me feel terrible when I was younger. And it's everything that I don't know. It's the direct opposite of myself. So I just basically ignore all my instincts,
Is it, and I'm getting deep on this, but is it like therapeutic or cathartic to like bring that out in a character? Like almost like getting back at those people you hated?
Yes, yes and no. I mean, it's therapeutic to lose yourself into a character for me. So all of it. I mean, the more far removed it is from who I am, is the better, I think, for me.
Well, speaking of villainous characters, in
Yes.
2000, you played the murderous Debbie Strand in Devil in the Flesh 2. Now,
Thank you.
I'm sure it's one of your favorite. Now, Rose McGowan played Debbie in the original Devil in the Flesh. Did you?
I was the poor man's Rose McGowan.
No,
Yes,
not.
they were like, Rose, can you do part 2? And she said, no, I'm good. And then
I loved Devil in the Flesh too. I thought it was like a soap. I was into it.
thank you.
It is so much fun. And here, I was going to ask you if you ever found out why Rose McGowan didn't return to the role, but I guess you guys didn't talk about that.
We sure didn't.
Did you get to meet her?
No, I didn't. I think she was probably after one of those was pretty done, you know.
I thought you were fantastic.
Oh, it was great. It's such a fun role. Seriously, I know you can look back and be, it's probably like kind of hokey, but it was so much fun. Like,
I had a blast. I had the best time ever making that movie. I had nonstop fun the entire time. The whole cast was great. It was like a nonstop party. We just were there having a great time making a horror film. There's nothing better.
And your co-star,
Jesus
Garcia, so good looking to me. I just was like, wow, he's like a soap star. He was the original Rod in Nightmare on Elm Street. What was it like working with him?
He was a sweetheart. He was really, really kind and very considerate, and he was just a good guy, you know, which is, I feel like it can go one way or the other. You can either get to work with someone who's just really lovely, or you can be with someone who's a complete douchebag. Sorry about that, guys.
No. I mean, I'm sure there's got to be a ton of douchebags in Hollywood. To be honest,
the girl that you take over her, her
life,
her life.
Yeah,
you guys really did look alike. I was like, wow, that was good casting.
Yeah.
So you do a ton of killing in this movie. In fact, my favorite murder of yours has to be when you throw a blow dryer into the shower to electrocute the RA after saying, blow me.
Good one.
I've got to ask, since you get killed in Halloween H2O and you do the killing in Devil in the Flesh 2, as an actor, which do you enjoy doing more, either getting killed on screen or doing the killing?
I enjoy doing the killing more only because it means that I'm not dead yet in the film.
That's a good answer. I
like to stick around. It's not,
I have a feeling getting killed must take a lot more out of you emotionally, physically, everything.
It does. I seem to die a lot. It takes a lot out of you. And it's sad also at the same time. You don't realize how attached you are until then they kill you off.
Well, random question. This can span your entire career, and all the times you have gotten killed on screen. Have you ever filmed it so out of order that you would film your death scene and then had to be alive in other scenes later?
Oh yeah.
That's got to be a mind fuck. Sorry.
No, it is an absolute mind fuck. You if you feel like you're leaving, but then you're not, and then you're back, and you're. It's just. A lot of times I felt like I never got the proper goodbye.
Yeah. So, I'm moving on to the other 2000 thriller that you were in, The Crow Salvation. Now, oddly enough, you're back to playing someone who gets murdered because your character, Lauren Randall, is killed before the movie even starts. There's a lot of flashbacks, though, and it's revealed that you were killed by 4 dirty cops who ended up stabbing you 53 times. Now, was that murder scene as uncomfortable to film as it was to watch? Because I think it was actually more brutal than your Halloween H2O death scene.
It was one of the most uncomfortable murder scenes I've ever had to do. Let's start with the fact that we were in Utah and it was freezing and it was the middle of the night. And it was my first day on set. Welcome to The Crow. Now we're going to kill you brutally up against the side of this bus while you're screaming and you're wearing a mini skirt and you're freezing cold.
Living the dream of Hollywood.
I mean, the glamour. The guys who did the killing actually felt so terrible for me that they came and knocked on my hotel room door the next day and asked if they could take me to lunch.
Aww.
They're like, hey, we just filmed a scene where we brutally stabbed you 53 times. So you want to get a burger?
We'd like to get to know you a little better. And also, we're sorry about last night. Let's go and take you to a beautiful lunch. Let's drive to Park City. So I did. That was my intro to The Crow.
Wow. And Kristen Dunst is in the movie. Did you get to meet her?
Yes. I adored her. She's I actually met her in my previous life back in the day, modeling when we were little kids together.
Really? So you had sort of known her before. It's unfortunate because you both don't really share any scenes in The Crow since you're dead, but you're sisters.
But, I only have the most beautiful memories of her too. I mean, I don't think she's changed at all since the time we were kids until now, to be completely honest with you. Anytime I run into her, she's still the same. She's just the loveliest.
That's awesome.
I get that. I mean, obviously I don't know her, but I get that energy from her from watching the television.
Yeah, sometimes you can just get like a kind of feel from someone.
Don't you think? And I mean, she's just cool. That's basically it. She's just such a girl's girl, which I love.
That's awesome. So, unfortunately, we don't have time to go through your entire resume, but I did want to give you a chance to speak a little bit about your experiences on both Prison Break and Vampire Diaries, because you played a villain on Prison Break for 2 seasons and conversely a good witch, I think, on Vampire Diaries throughout its last few seasons. So can you tell us a little bit about being on both of these shows and playing those very different characters?
Well, Vampire Diaries, it was my really big chance to actually be the good guy. And I do mean the good guy, because if you look at my resume, there's not a lot of quote unquote good guys on there. It's either the villain or, the person being murdered, or the villain.
Villain or victim.
Or murdered. So it was a really nice change for me. And I even said to them when I first started working there, I said, you don't know how grateful I am that like my nieces and nephews can actually watch this, because everywhere else I'm either brutally killing someone or being brutally killed. So it's nice to not have that happen. I mean, the joke was on me because then I was brutally killed in the end, but it was a good run right up until then.
Yeah. And then how about Prison Break? What was it like working on that show?
Prison Break is my happy place. Prison Break is my everything. I was a huge fan of the show beforehand, which also made it really intimidating for me. But the physicality of being there and doing all of my own stunt work, and I do mean all, like every single thing that you see was me, save for one day. And the only reason is because I had a horrible fever and I was in the middle of doing an action scene, and they called action, and then my hands were cuffed and I just kind of wobbled and then tipped. And they said, you're going home. That's it. So one day only, they had to have someone else fight for me. But everything about it, I mean, talk about far removed from myself. I am non-confrontational to a fault. I'm a peacekeeper. Gretchen Morgan was not. And to walk in her shoes for that long was amazing for me. And I loved the cast. Oh my God, I love that cast.
No, that's great. I'm thinking TV versus movies. Obviously, for movies, you're playing a character for maybe a few months at most. You just get in that mindset and then you're done. But for TV, you have to continue getting in the mindset over and over and over. So obviously, it has to be a completely different experience.
It's totally different. I mean, and each beautiful for their own reasons. I mean, with a movie, one and done, you can kind of move on and do something else, which is interesting to just be able to kind of jump to different characters. When you're doing TV, you have a lot more time to sit with the person, which is also really nice. You get a lot more time to kind of sink your teeth in, which I like. So I honestly, I don't prefer one medium more than the other. I like it all.
I was just going to ask, do you prefer TV or movies? Oh, nice. Yeah. So we noticed that you've appeared at a handful of conventions, but never one of the Halloween anniversary ones. So would you ever be up for attending one of those? Because I can tell you fans of H2O would love to have you at one of those.
Of course I would. I mean, I just have to be invited.
Wait, how about the 45th anniversary? No, I'm just because I'm about to get really angry at whoever put together the 45th, because there was a Halloween 45th anniversary one. Did they contact you?
Nope.
What's going on in the world?
Listen, if anybody who's listening who knows the people that run, because they had people from all the movies over the last 45 years, every sequel, I mean, even Resurrection. So I am shocked to hear this. So you would be up for coming to a Halloween con?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
You heard it here first.
Oh my God. Because
yeah, I feel so lucky to be part of that franchise. Are you kidding me? There's a lot of things I wouldn't want to go to, but that I would.
Oh my God, Tim, get them on the phone.
Okay, hang on.
Hi, Halloween conventions? No, because, well, I can tell you they'll definitely do a 50th, but oh my God, people would love, maybe they thought oh, she's too big for us. Maybe she would do or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case.
Well, I mean, they gotta get you at it. We would love to have you there.
Since I'm such a soap fanatic, do you think being on soaps at an early age, like learning a ridiculous amount of dialogue, do you think that really helped like move on to like television and film?
Oh, it prepared me for everything. I had to learn a script a day. It was an amazing amount of work to do in one day. I still don't know how a lot of the soap actors do it, to be honest.
Oh, I know. It's amazing. I love soaps.
I know. It was training ground 101 for me. It was, you get there and you have to learn on the fly. And then as soon as you kind of feel like you're maybe comfortable, that's another day and another script. So, yeah.
I know you're a very busy person, but I'm going to ask, do you watch soaps today?
I don't.
It's okay. It's okay.
Do you? Okay. Well, I looking back on, because you were talking about the Halloween series kind of had an impact on you at a young age, and then you were in one of the sequels. In your opinion, why do you think people love the Halloween franchise so much and continue to love it?
It's just beautiful classic horror. And I chalk it up to the scares being not just in the gore and not just in, the Michael Myers character, but in everything else that's happening. You're scared of everything. At every turn, you're waiting for something to happen. And it's that anticipation that builds up the entire movie. That's what makes it so great for me.
I mean, I've always felt the same. Sorry, Tim, because that the Halloween franchise, like, well, starting with the original one, it's like every bit of him stalking and watching people versus it's not just kill, and that's what I thought they did well in H20 also.
It's like this huge adrenaline rush that never stops until the end of the film. It's a whole different experience.
I totally agree. And what are you up to today?
Any projects you can tell us about, or I know you work with different brands. Like, yeah, tell us everything.
I haven't been doing all that much acting, which has been really nice because it's been the only thing I've ever done my whole life. I'm the co-founder of a perfume brand called Heretic. We do 100% natural fine fragrance, and I've been for the past 3 years really just doing that. So,
is it for men too?
Yes, it's genderless.
Well, tell our listeners how we can find Heretic wait, am I pronouncing it right? Heretic. Yeah. How we can find Heretic, like the website, social pages, all of that, so that we can look into this.
Yeah, easy. It's Heretic Parfum, PARFUM.com. And please check us out. I'm really proud of it.
That is amazing.
I will.
And you know what's funny is that a lot of people, I think it's great that like maybe, let's say you've realized like I did acting for a long time and now I want to try something else, and get into that. Do you think you would be ever up for doing any more horror movies in your future?
I do. It's interesting. When I first took the break and I just decided that I needed to stop for a minute because it literally, if you look at my life, it's kind of all I've ever known. And I wanted to feel what it would be like to not be on that hamster wheel for a little while, because for me, it became a lot about, finding my next job, and not because I was so desperate to be on the screen all the time, but I had to support myself. So as an actor, you're going from one job, and as soon as you're on one job and you feel like you have a little bit of security, as soon as that's over, you're, grasping for the next thing because it's, you're just trying to keep the lights on, you're just trying to keep your world afloat. And I just thought taking a break from doing that for a little while might change my perspective on it. And it really has. I mean, I have a lot more appreciation for when you can do things that you want to do rather than when you have to do something because it's the difference between groceries and not groceries kind of thing. And it's also this time apart is giving me a little bit of an itch to go back, which is pleasantly surprising.
That is we're so happy to hear that. And it's so nice. And thank you for just being candid about that. It's like, I think a lot of people just think like, oh, life in Hollywood, as soon as you're in a movie, it's glamorous all the time.
No,
that was never the case for me. That never happened. I'm still kind of waiting for that to happen, if we're to be honest.
Well, yeah, it's like, I think that people don't understand, or they think like, oh, actors, they have it easy. They,
I mean, from my tiny experience, it's a lot of sitting around and waiting, and it's long hours, and
it's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's really fun. But yeah, there is a lot of sitting around and waiting, and there's a lot of sitting around and waiting between jobs, which is the hardest part.
Well, let me just tell you that as big fans of yours and people who have appreciated what you've done in your career, we would love to see you in any new projects. Of course, we would be very excited if you came back to horror at some time, but we will definitely be watching
your career everywhere.
and supporting you the whole way, just so you know.
Thank you so much.
We have just one final question for you, and we ask this to every single person that we interview, and it kind of puts you on the spot. Not like we haven't put you on the spot throughout this entire interview. So what else you got? Yeah, I know. What else you got? Who's the coolest? Jamie Lee Curtis or LL Cool J? No. What is one thing that you can tell us about your experience, let's say working on Halloween H20, that you've never told any other interviewer, publication, convention Q&A podcast or whatever? Just one thing about your experience working on that film that you've never told in any other interview. Doesn't have to be like,
it can be like a small detail.
It doesn't have to be gossipy salacious. It could be a
Michael
small.
Myers combed his hair.
But one thing that you've never told about your experience.
I have a couple, but I have one.
Oh my God, tell us all of them.
Okay, so after the filming, I got sent a Michael Myers mask to sign, and I was given very specific instructions not to take it out of the box and not to really handle it. And so I took it out of the box and immediately put it on my head. And I have a short video of myself walking around my house in the Michael Myers mask, holding a really big knife. That's something I've never told anyone ever.
That's amazing. Oh my God. I take it you didn't post this video ever, or have you?
No, never. What?
Oh my God.
What? Like, it's on TikTok. I'm going to look it up.
God, I'm not even on TikTok. Good luck.
Oh my God. That is hilarious. Oh my God. I love that. Okay. What else you got?
Number 2, I simultaneously had a crush on LL Cool J and Josh Hartnett during filming.
Who didn't?
Nice. I know. I was just going to say, I'm pretty sure that we all, as young gay men, had crushes on many of the people. Yeah. In that movie.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Yes.
He was ridiculously cute. I get the appeal.
There was a lot of
in 2 very different ways.
Yes, in 2 very different ways. Josh Hartnett was like the angsty teen. LL Cool J is the like hardcore, I'm gonna knock you out.
Well, we did. Now that same summer, was that Deep Blue Sea summer? Did you see that shark film?
I don't know if that.
I saw Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing that you don't know about me. I'll also watch LL Cool J do anything.
That is a good. I don't know. Does he do much acting anymore?
I don't know.
Wow.
Back then, that was it. I was like, okay. He told me to call him Uncle L. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Oh wow, that
I
don't know what
Uncle L on set.
I don't know whether to take that in like a fantasy direction or a.
You take that in whatever direction you want to. All I can tell you is that this girl from Jersey, my heart grew 10 times the size that day.
I love it.
Uncle L, that is hilarious. Well, wait, was that it, or did you have more things that you had never told?
I'm sure I have a few more, but that's what I can think of right now.
You know how to reach us.
That is great. Well, we just want to thank you so much for taking the time with us. This means so much to us, really. And I know it's like, of all the stuff you've done in your career, you're like, they just want to talk mostly about Halloween H20, which I know is very
happy about it. Are you kidding me? There's so much other crap you could talk about, and I'm really glad you didn't.
Okay, good. Well, thank you. We really appreciate your time. Thank you. And have a great rest of your day.
That was so much fun. Thank you.
Thank you. That was so much fun for me too. Have a great day.
Awesome. Okay, take care. Bye, Jodi.
Guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Happy Horror Time.
If you'd like to support the podcast, please sign up to be a patron at www.patreon.com/happyhorrortime. As a patron, you get access to all our bonus content, which now includes 2 new bonus episodes every month, a monthly after show mini episode, access to our Discord community so you can chat with us directly, and the chance to review a film with us in one of our bonus episodes.
Patrons also get all our regular episodes ad-free and a day early, our monthly newsletter, the chance to vote in polls, and autographed Happy Horror Time stickers.
I'm Matt Emmert.
And I'm Tim Murdoch.
And we hope you have a happy horror time.